take a deep dive into how you can prepare for that if you've not already prepared, please welcome the CEO of PowerSuite, Aleh Barysevich.
Hello everyone, nice to see you here. So, my name is Aleh, and I've been in the SEO industry for 15 years already. I've been mainly building different SEO tools, and the SEO PowerSuite tool that you see on the slide is definitely one of them. Really good tool, so feel free to try it out. But lately, I've been diving deep into Pagespeed, which has been developed so rapidly. So today, I'd like to fill you in on some of the latest developments in this field, if you don't mind. And what I'd like to start with is a quick observation, which is that the world we live in is obsessed with speed, with doing everything faster, with cramming more and more things into less and less time. Like, we used to dial, now we speed dial. We used to read, now we speed read. We used to date, now we speed date. And in business, we also don't have much of an opportunity to slow down even for a moment. So let's get straight to business. Let's see why speed, and page speed in particular, is important for us in terms of user experience, revenue, and search engine optimization, of course. And here are some latest findings saying that today, in 2018, the average web page takes 15.3 seconds to load. Like 15.3 seconds. Feels like forever, right? And this is what happens in real life. 53% of all mobile visits are abandoned if the page does not load within 3 seconds. So they live at this point and see nothing. At the same time, every second person expects a web page to load in 2 seconds or less. So this is the difference between user expectations and reality. And of course, time is money, and in fact, page speed directly affects how much money we make. For example, in retail, a 1 second delay in page load time can reduce mobile conversions by up to 20%. If people have a negative experience on your mobile pages, they will be 62% less likely to buy from you again. And numerous case studies support these findings. For example, a couple of years ago, both Amazon and Walmart held similar researches independently and found out that 100 milliseconds extra load time costs both of them 1% of their revenue, which is billions actually. Mozilla managed to get 60 million additional downloads a year by speeding up just a few landing pages on their website for about 2 seconds. And Google's new tool, Impact Calculator, shows you exactly how much money you lose due to your website being slow. When I saw this tool for the very first time for my product, for my website, it was $500,000. And this is just because of 1 second. So next time you are having a fight with your boss over the budget for speed improvements, this is the argument to make and the tool to show. Okay, now let's see why page speed is important for search engine optimization. It's all because of Google again, actually. Earlier this year, Google announced that mobile page speed will become a ranking factor in their mobile search results. This is going to happen in July 2018, basically in a month. And though page speed has been a ranking factor for desktop searches for about 8 years already, now the same will be true for mobile searches. So this is number one thing to keep in mind. Page speed update for mobile search goes live in July. The second thing to remember is that Google has already rolled out and started building its mobile first index. It means that in case you've got a mobile version of your website, be it adaptive pages or a separate site, Google is going to put your mobile pages in its index first, not your desktop pages. And thus, mobile page speed, along with other mobile parameters, is most probably already playing a role for both mobile and desktop search results. So, page speed is important for user experience, revenue, SEO. What is more, Google really seems to have made a strategic decision to focus on speed. We've all seen how much time and effort they invested into speed-related tools and technologies lately. For example, accelerated mobile pages and progressive web apps are very hot these days. And half of the presentations here at SMX are devoted to those technologies, right? Next, as many of you know, Google offers page speed modules for servers like Apache or Nginx to help us automatically optimize all the pages on our websites at once. Conversely, there are very nice single page speed testing tools like Pindom or GTmetrix and Web Page Test. And for example, Web Page Test was also initially developed and is now supported by Google. We can also find page speed reports in Google Analytics, in Search Console, and of course we can but mention Chrome DevTools. Everybody uses them. But Google didn't stop there, and earlier this year they released 3 new tools, 3 new speed-related tools, and these are SEO modules for Lighthouse, Mobile Speed Scorecard, Impact Calculator. So Google is pretty serious about speed nowadays, and they're actually so serious that they have recently changed the whole concept of page speed measurements. And this is most explicitly seen in PageSpeed Insights, probably the most popular tool for SEOs. That's what PageSpeed Insights report looked like a couple of months ago. Previously, your website was evaluated based on a set of clear technical criteria like redirects, minification, compression, all this stuff. And you could fix it on your end, complete the checklist, and you'd be good. Today, there are 2 different sections which refer to speed and optimization separately. And while this optimization score is just a different name for something we already had in the previous version, this speed score is something totally new. And it brings 2 new metrics and 2 new abbreviations into our SEO lives. And these are first, contentful paint, which measures when a user sees the first visual response from a web page. And DOM content loaded, which measures when an HTML document has been loaded and parsed. And visually, that's what it looks like. So first, contentful paint, and DOM content loaded. And the game-changing part of this is that you cannot even get those 2 metrics in your local tests anymore. These metrics are being collected from millions of users from all over the world, opening web pages in their Chrome browsers. And if they have slow internet connection or use slower devices, most probably Google will also see your website as slow. Here's a real-life example where we can see a 2 times difference between what we've measured and how it actually works for an average user. And basically it means that if you have a super fast website hosted here in London, but the majority of your visits come, say, from China, where your super fast website can take ages to load, that's exactly how Google will see it, slow. Thus, we may say that Google has fully switched from lab data to field data, or real user monitoring. And here's what it means. Google's new initiative called Chrome User Experience Report is basically a big data set of key user experience metrics aggregated from all users who use the Chrome browser. Chrome collects data on how you browse websites, how long it takes you to load this or that page, some information about your device, your connection type, and this is the data that is being used to calculate your speed score in PageSpeed Insights. Luckily, Chrome User Experience Report is publicly available to explore on Google BigQuery platform. And if you've got some really basic knowledge of SQL, you can get the raw data Google collected for your website or for any other website. And that's what it looks like. And then you can export the data to a spreadsheet, and you'll see a histogram like this. And here we can clearly see that, for example, 17% of all users start getting their first visual response in just under 1 second, which is good. But at the same time, almost the same number of people have to wait for 5 seconds or more, which is not that good. And we can go deeper and break this information down by devices, countries, connection types, all that stuff, to find out what exactly causes the problem. So, pretty powerful stuff. And the good thing is that Google keeps evolving the project, so I encourage all of you to use this first-hand data from Google when speeding up your pages. Okay, so we've got tons of tools and data to help us measure page speed. And now let's move on to a more technical part of the presentation and see the exact steps we shall implement to help us optimize our pages. And there are very many different tricks developers can use to speed up page loading. But today, let's just go through a number of most essential tactics. These are the tactics that are recommended by Google for improving your optimization score. And as you'll see a bit later, these are the exact tactics that will help us with our SEO efforts. The exact ones that will help us with our rankings. Okay, but before making any changes on your website, please keep in mind that nowadays speed improvements, they cannot be done once and forever. This is a process. So first of all, you need to choose the right metrics, set your goals wisely, and only after that you go. And it all starts with your server side. It needs to be fast, both hardware and software. Google expects your server response time to be under 200 milliseconds. So slow application logic, slow database queries, slow routing, frameworks, libraries, CPU starvation, they are all unacceptable. And developers need to have their part of the work to be done really well. And just a quick comment, these 200 milliseconds are marked as required. And this section describes the steps required by Google for your optimization score to go up. And though I'll mainly stick to this required section in my presentation, if you need something more than just bare minimum, please feel free to take a look at the best practice section below for some more advanced tips, okay? Okay, and we are moving on to redirects. Google lets us have only one redirect from the given URL to the final landing page. 2 or more redirects are considered to be a problem. This is a pretty straightforward rule, but still a very common case for many websites, so please keep this in mind. Compression goes next. Pretty obvious. If you can compress anything before transferring over the internet, do it. I've got nothing to add here. Browser caching can be a little bit tricky because sometimes it might require both development and business knowledge to organize it properly. So double check that you have all your caching headers set up correctly, because Google will frown upon your website if you have no caching headers at all. The next rule applies to resource modification. Google expects all your HTML, JavaScript, CSS files to have no unnecessary or redundant data. For example, comments in HTML code, or space symbols in HTML code, or repeated styles in CSS, or even metadata included inside your photos. And I know that some people think of this as of something unimportant, like space symbols. Who cares? But please believe me that sometimes minification can be very, very powerful, so just make it a part of your build release cycle. That's not so difficult. Okay, image optimization is very important, as on average, images account for more than 60% of your web page size. So use vector formats where possible, choose best raster formats, including new formats like WebP or HAVE. Resize images on your server before transferring them over the internet. And of course, invest into automation tools and infrastructure, because it pays off very, very quickly. And one more rule to cover is that you should load and render all the above default content as quickly as possible, and only after that start loading the rest. And the size of this above default content must be reduced to 14 kilobytes compressed. So, pretty simple techniques, and these simple techniques recommended by Google we've just covered are quite enough for your optimization score to go out actually. And we could go deeper, but I suggest we stop here for now and recap. Taking Pagespeed Insights tool as an example once again. Firstly, since mobile first indexing is already live, you should mainly focus on the mobile tab here. Desktop metrics are still crucial for user experience, yet SEO-wise, mobile is much more important nowadays. Secondly, there's no need to chase 100 points in your optimization score for each and every single web page you've got on your website. On the most basic level, it's enough to make sure that you are in the green zone and your site is labeled as good. I would also like to remind you that mobile page speed is becoming a ranking factor in July, so high time to focus on it. And actually, when Google announced this at the beginning of the year, my team and I started an experiment to track the correlation between mobile page speed and mobile rankings. And we've been collecting URLs for top 30 positions for a large set of keywords. And as a result, we got 1 million pages for which we measured optimization score, first contentful paint, DOM content loaded, some other metrics. We were curious to track the current state of the industry to further compare it to the same results in July when the update officially comes into full action. And as of today, there's already a very, very high correlation between the position in mobile SERPs and the average optimization score for the pages occupying those positions. So as you can see, pages with lower optimization score, they tend to rank lower, and vice versa. Higher ranking pages tend to have higher optimization score. And in practice, it means that the time to take action is now. We cannot afford to wait till July. One more takeaway I'd like to share with you is that we have not seen any correlation between those new FCP and DCL metrics and the actual rankings so far. And we might expect this to become part of the upcoming update in July, or may not, we'll see. But anyways, so far no correlation. And of course you can check the results of the experiment right here at this URL, and you can also get the raw data at this URL. And I'd also like to thank my teammates from SEO PowerSuite who made this experiment possible. There'll be a follow-up measurement somewhere in late July or maybe August when the update comes into full action. And of course, we'll be sharing it with the SEO community. So if you'd like to see those final results, please feel free to follow me on Twitter. I'll be sharing the update. And so far, thank you for your attention, and good luck optimizing your pages. Thank you.
So we do have a couple of questions. Do you want to go ahead and answer?
Okay.
No. We don't want the questions up there necessarily. We can see them from down here.
Okay,
Yeah.
good.
You don't want to sit down? We can stand.
I prefer
You prefer stand?
not seated.
Okay, that's good. So, you have a question?
Yes, I will go a step further. Quick question. What about the latency that comes from media types that they are paid?
From media tags?
Yes, for paid advertisement. Because when, as an example, I'm doing a check with Metrics for some of my data, and all the errors I have, they are from media types. How
Right.
does that impact my loading time, and what Google is considering as my problem and the media tag problem?
Right, that's a really tricky question because Actually, Google is aware of this problem, and the representatives of Google said that they know that some errors come from their Google Analytics scripts and double-click scripts and all that stuff. But actually, they said they are not going to do anything with that. Actually, that is what they say. And at the same time, they said that they do not think that this might cause any problems for end users, so just leave it as it is, and it works perfectly for Google.
Got one from the forum, and then we'll get to you, sir.
Why do you think DOM content loaded is a good metric now with such heavy use of JavaScript, and can you optimize it?
Actually, Google, as I said, Chrome User Experience Report is a data set of different metrics, and we've got first content full paint and DOM content loaded shown in Pagespeed Insights tool, but actually there are many more metrics Google tracks in their Chrome User Experience Report, including first meaningful paint, time to interactive, when JavaScript comes into action. And I don't know whether DOM content loaded is the best metrics to rely on in real life, because I think that we should make people, our visitors, happy, and this is where time to interactive comes into action. But anyways, Google tells us that your optimization score depends on DOM content loaded, not time to interactive, so it's up to them. And if you want your rankings to go higher, then you have to choose DOM content loaded.
Your question?
Sorry, my question was, is there ever going to be a benefit to optimizing speed for Google Bot versus users? So just thinking of a quick win, if you was to optimize for a certain product or user agent, would that be beneficial to just optimizing across the board?
So he's asking, would it be better to serve a different experience with respect to speed optimization to the Google bot versus what your users are actually going to get? And I think this gets at, you can talk about the user.
It sounds like it's like, great hat, because you should, of course, Google says that you should optimize for your users. And when your users are happy, then Google will be happy. But in my opinion, and what our experiments show, is that you can do just like you said. You can optimize for Google first, and then you'll start getting high rankings. And that's true. This is just an algorithmic question, I would say, and Google just an algorithm, and they see their speed metrics. So, but I'd suggest you satisfy both Google and your visitors.
In the instances where you've seen that, have you looked at other factors that might be contributing beyond whether or not Googlebot's being served a different speed experience, or if it's a different entire, and you're probably going to get into the dynamic rendering that they announced. So it basically, is the ranking a factor of the speed or a factor of crawl efficiency and how they're getting indexed? Have you been able to separate out those two?
No, actually we haven't been making such an experiments, but we've been making an experiment where we were slowing our websites down on purpose and checking what's going to happen with their rankings. And actually, what we saw is that when our site was, if I'm not mistaken, like 4 seconds slower than it was before, we got a huge drop in our rankings. And then a couple of weeks later, we made it fast again, and we saw that our rankings got higher. So this actually proves that speed is a ranking factor already.
Okay. Another question from the forum, unless there's something else in the audience. Didn't get to the forum. Okay. We have a page faster than most AMP pages. Do you see a reason working with AMP anyway?
Of course. AMP is a little bit different when it comes to Google, but AMP is definitely good for your users because they're lightning fast, and all your metrics like bounce rates and conversions, they will be higher for accelerated mobile pages. But at the same time, we need to remember that when it comes to page speed, Google takes into account the actual speed of your mobile page, not your AMP page. Even if you've got AMP page, Google is going to take into account the speed of your mobile website. So you need to have AMP pages and a super blazing fast mobile website. This is how it works.
Okay, I think we could have one more question. One more question.
Okay, I think.
Thanks so much, Aleh.
Thank you.